This video is brought to you by BlueCert. BlueCert is a trusted provider for AI-related certifications designed to validate expertise in machine learning, data science, NLP, AI security, and more. You can go to bluecert.org to take a look at all of their offerings. You can explore the certifications. Here we have certifications on machine learning, AI healthcare, AI in finance, natural language processing, and many more. If I go to machine learning, you can see the different potential roles that are available for machine learning as developers and even different paths that are available. And this provides you with AI-focused specialization, flexible online exams, and also employer recognition. You can also check out some of the sample multiple choice questions on that category. If you're looking for certification for machine learning or AI related fields, check out bluecert.org. All right, so we have now learned about arrays or lists. Let's move our focus to loops. If I ask you that, hey, I want to print out the contents in a nice way for friends array, how would you do that? Now you might say, well, hold on, we're already printing out the contents of the friends array. Yes, you are, but they don't really look nice. I mean, would you give this user interface where you're putting all of these things in brackets and all that stuff to your user? Probably not. It doesn't look good. I mean, it has brackets, commas, single quotes. Maybe a good idea to print this out will be something like this. Kramer. And then Steven. I mean, this definitely looks much better. But how can we do that? Well, one of the ways that you can do that is by simply using the print statement. You can say Kramer, and then maybe we can even use a formatting operator and inject friends of 0. If I go ahead and run this, we can see Kramer right there. Okay, well, there are other items in the list, so we want to print them too. So I'll go and change this to 1, and then this is number 2, and then this is number 3, and this is, let's go ahead and run that. Okay, we're getting a hang of it. Now, currently we only have like maybe 5 or 6 people in the friends list, and maybe we can even use this approach. But what about if I had 20, 30, or 50, or even 100 friends in the friends array? Then what would I do? This technique or this particular approach of printing friends, this can become a headache. So whenever you're trying to perform something repeatedly, you can do that with the help of loops. So let's see what loops are and how a very popular loop like a for loop actually works. So loop is to repeat something repeatedly. Well, to do something repeatedly. And the most common loop is for loop. And there are various ways of writing for loops in Python and also in other languages. We're going to be looking at a for index range loop, and you'll see that how you can write that loop. So we'll start with for. That's just a keyword for the for loop. And then a variable to hold the index. Index is simply a number that just keeps incrementing. You will define that how much to increment and so on, and what's the start of the index and what's the end of the index. So let's say that if I want to run a loop and print out the number from 1 to 10, this is how I would write it. For index in range. Now range is a function that takes multiple arguments. we're only going to be dealing with 2 or 3. And in the range, you have to say, where does your loop start? I'm going to say it starts with 1 because we want to print the numbers from 1 through 10. Where does the loop end? 10. And now we can go ahead and print the contents of the index. So what's going to happen in this is we have already specified that the loop is going to be starting with 1. This means that the first time the loop is going to run, index will be 1. And then it's going to run, it's going to execute this line, and then it's going to go back. And then 1, it will become, index will become 2 because it needs to go from 1 to 10. So the only way to go from 1 to 10 is to take the index and then plus 1 to it. So index 1 plus 1 will be 2, then index will be 2. Then it go back again, 2 plus 1 is 3, prints out 3. Back again, 3 plus 1 is 4, prints out 4. If I go ahead and run this, you'll be able to see that we're able to print the numbers from 1 through 9. But we wanted to print the numbers from 1 through 10. Why is it printing 1 through 9, even though we have specified the start of the loop and the end of the loop? Well, in for loop in Python, the last number that you provide over here, which is the ending of the loop, is not included in the loop. It always goes from the start of the number, which is the start of the loop, the starting point, which is 1, all the way to this number minus 1. So it will be 9. So if you want to go to 10, just put 11 over here. And now you'll be able to see that it goes 1 less than 11, which in this case will be 10. And that's how we're able to print the loop. So this is called the for loop. Now the for loop takes, the range in the for loop takes in multiple arguments. You have first argument, which is the start of the loop, the end of the loop, and the third argument is how do you want your loop to increment. If I put 1 over here, it means that the index will be incremented by 1 every single time. So the first time the index will be 1 because that's just the start of the loop, but the second time will be 1 plus 1, then it will become, index will become 2, and then 2 plus 1, the index will become 3, then 3 plus 1. So whatever the index is, plus 1 is added for the next index. But you can change this value to 2. And by the way, the default value, if you don't provide over here as a third argument, the default value is 1. And that is why you can see that the index is always adding 1 and incrementing. You can provide a 2 value over here also. 2 means that now the index will begin with 1 and then 2 will be added. So 1 plus 2 is 3, and then 3 will be added to 2 will be added to 3, then it will become 5. 5 plus 2 is 7, and then 9, as you can see over here. You can also add 3, so that means the first number will still be 1. 1 plus 3 is 4, 4 plus 3 is 7, 7 plus 3 is 10. All right. We'll start with providing nothing over here, which means 1 will be added. Now, one of the things to keep in mind over here is that we are running this loop 1 through 11, or it goes through 1 through 10 because 11 is not included. And if we wanted to print out the name of our friends, we can say print, pass in the name of the friends, which is the variable friends, and as an index, we can pass an index. Because the first time the index will be 1, then it will be 2, then it will be 3, then it will be 4, and so on. Let's go ahead and run this. Well, we were able to print out 4 of our friend names, but then the index, it just went out of the loop, which basically means that we passed the index some value, which can be like 0, 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, or maybe 5 we passed in, and there is nobody on index number 4 or 5 in the friends array, and that's why it's breaking up. So one of the things that we have to think about is we don't really want the loop to run till 10. We want the loop to run whatever is the length of the friends array. So we can find the length of the friends array by using the length function. We also want to print out or start the loop with 0 because we are accessing array items, and arrays store their item at index 0. So we should probably update this also to 0. Now when we run this, you can see that all the friends are displayed. Even if I go and remove or add a friend, the loop will still print out all the friends in the array, and the length will, or the final destination over here, it's not going to cause any headache because we're always using the length function. So we always get the correct length for the friends. Now, a couple of things to note over here is that we have used a variable named index in the loop. This doesn't have to be called index, by the way. I mean, you can call it anything you want. You can call it cat. Just use cat everywhere then. But whenever you're running a loop, it's a common practice to call this particular variable index or even I. But I'm just going to use index because I is simply short for index. Okay? So this is how we can run a loop. And we can go through our friends array and display all the friends.